That's Mamie Van Doren with the title song from 1959's The Beat Generation, one of 7 Mamie Van Doren movies airing on Turner Classic Movies. Later this month, Miss Van Doren joins us once again on the Pop Shop. She's also just re-released her autobiography, Playing the Field. What prompted this new edition of the book?
Well, there's new generations coming up. This was first released in 1987, and a lot of people, had never read it. So I was always approached asking me if I'd ever written my memoirs, and I said, well, I did, 20 years ago. And so, well, why don't you republish it? So Putnam at that time was a conservative publisher, and I thought, well, I would update some pictures and things. And so I put it out and made it up a little bit sexier. And I put it out.
Well, in addition to talking about your career in the book, you also mentioned some romances with some very famous men, like Johnny Carson and Henry Kissinger, Joe Namath, Elvis Presley, James Dean. Did you ever hear from any of these famous individuals after the book was initially published in 1987?
No, I never heard from any of them. Johnny, they wanted me to go on the Johnny Carson show. He was going to interview me, but for something happened. I guess he decided he didn't want to do it. Maybe he was embarrassed. I don't know. I love Johnny. He was a dear heart. And I didn't write anything bad about him, but it was just, it's just the way he was. And as far as Namath was concerned, didn't hear anything. Everything I said in there, I didn't ever have to worry about because every bit of it was true. So,
Well, then again, maybe if you had an affair with someone who looks like you wouldn't want to keep it a secret.
I guess. I never thought about it that way on their end of it. I never thought about what they were thinking, but probably.
Well, you did talk about a romantic encounter you had with Rock Hudson in the book, and I suppose knowing what we know now about Rock Hudson, maybe that would come as a surprise to a lot of people.
He liked women, too, I think that most people knew he was bisexual, but they were very more secretive. They really had to really pay big bucks to keep that under tow.
And you actually were good friends with him.
Yes, we were under contract together, and we did scenes together in class, and we went to class together, and we acted together, and we dated. So I got to know Rock quite well. I was under contract almost 5 years, and he was there. He was groomed as being a star, and then he got his big break when he was loaned out to a giant, and that's what, he became the big box office then.
Do you think in this age of 24-hour celebrity coverage on television, obviously in the 1950s and 60s, there wasn't quite that level of intrusion from the paparazzi. Do you think stars were wilder back then because they could get away with more, or is it about the same today?
That's kind of a mystery question. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of wondering too. I've often wondered whether or not they were a bit more secretive about it those days. But the paparazzi was really running rampant back in Europe when I was there in Italy, because that's where it all originated from.
Right.
But in L.A., I lived in Hollywood, and I know that I moved out of Hollywood and went to Newport Beach because there wasn't absolutely no privacy. If I did a Playboy layout or something like that, I mean, the minute it came out, I mean, I couldn't believe, I didn't have a bodyguard. In those days, you didn't have one, and I wasn't married, and I had a very difficult time, so I had to get out. So then I came down here, and then I lived in a guarded community. So I had some privacy, and I'm still down here because I've always regarded my privacy. I'm not one to flaunt myself around, walking around trying to get pictures taken of myself. On the contrary. But as far as my sexual life and my personal life, it was pretty much an open book when I wrote about myself.
Setting aside the romances and your personal life, what do you consider the happiest time in your career?
It's strange you should ask. I've never really been that happy. I never reached what I was looking for. It was something I'm still looking and searching today for. It's not that I was unhappy, but I just was never content. through my whole life, I've never been content. And I've never confessed this to anyone. But happiness is something out there that I don't think I've ever experienced it 100%. No. I'm always looking for something different or something new and exciting and always trying different things. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I just have never been 100% content in my life.
Well, it might also be a situation where you don't realize that you've been happy until much later when you look back in retrospect. Like, I'm sure the beginning of your career was something of a happy time.
Yes, that was really, really very, very exciting. And I was happy at that moment. Yes, I could say I was happy. But then when I got inside the studio and saw all the work and the things that I had to accomplish, it was a challenge for me. And then I was just deep into trying to make myself into what the studio wanted me to be, and I was always trying to please people, and it was very male domination, and there was no females to connect myself to. It was hard for me, and I was trying to open doors, and there was a lot of people that you could not dress a certain way, or it was just
right.
Censorship galore. Censorship was beyond my imagination. Today, I don't know how I ever managed. But anyway, I came through and I prevailed, and I was satisfied with that. But I wasn't 100% satisfied. I was always had to go to the next one. I want to do what I wanted to do, and I wasn't supposed to do that. Well, I want to do it, so I did it.
Yeah.
And I took consequences by not getting some of the roles that I wanted because I didn't do some. I was not politically correct in doing things. I was always on the edge of doing things I wasn't supposed to do. But I must say I did it my way.
What happens when a captivating movie starlet goes one thrill too far? She was every inch a teasing, taunting, come-on blonde, and she made every inch pay off. From her golden blonde hair to her black silk stockings, she was tempting bait for a crazed killer. What will happen to her tonight? High-speed drama racing along to a surprise climax that will shock you with its power.
We're speaking with Mamie Van Doren today. Miss Van Doren, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your trips to Vietnam.
Well, Vietnam was probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. Forget about the movies, forget about everything. I was over there twice entertaining. I went to places that no one else dared go, I wasn't with an USO. I did it on my own. I hired a little Filipino band and through helicopters, and we toured all the fire stations in Vietnam, and that was satisfying to me. It's just like I was searching for something. I didn't know what it was. And it was right after, Jane just got killed taking a job for me, which really made me very unhappy. Yeah, I was very discouraged.
Jane Mansfield.
And then Marilyn had gone her way. And I just didn't know what to do with my life. So I wanted to help in any way I could. We had Jane Fonda on the other end of the spectrum, but I wanted to go right to where these men were and give them as much love and trying to bring some of American apple pie to them.
Right.
They really loved it. They just loved it. I was that is the I must say I was fulfilled in doing what I did then, and I'm lucky I didn't come back in a body bag. So many of them didn't make it.
And you talk about your experiences in Vietnam in the book, Playing the Field. And as I understand it, you're also working on a new book.
I have a new book I'm writing now. It's Secrets of the Goddess. There are things that I left out on the other, or Putnam did, and I'm going to fill in on them. And also, the most important thing is growing old and experiencing life. It's easy and then it's not easy, but most of my contemporaries are frozen in time. They never really got that old. So everyone sees them as a very young person. But I'm, having been like the last of the M's, the so-called M's, you have to like really wonder, why am I still here? There must be a reason. So I'm going to make good use of it.
Well, you mentioned Jayne Mansfield and Marilyn Monroe being frozen in time, but I have to admit that now in 2013, Mamie Van Doren looks pretty darn good.
Thank you very kindly for saying that, Gosi. I've been blessed with good genes. I had a very healthy and beautiful mother and father that lived to be very old and healthy until the very end. And we sort of grew up together. They were teenagers when they got married, and they lived their lives out together to the very end. And I had so much fun with them. I did. Some of them were unhappy because I was born during the Depression years, and we had really tough times. And I think that really made me realize when I came to Hollywood that, if you can survive those years in the Midwest, South Dakota, and those days, you can survive Hollywood. Hollywood is a piece of cake.
We're talking to Mamie Van Doren. By the way, the book is Playing the Field, which is just out in this new deluxe version. And if people want to get the book, where would they go?
You can go to Amazon.com. Just type in Mamie Van Doren, Playing the Field. That's how you can get it. Right.
And I think it's...
if you want me to sign it, you can go to my address. They can send me an email at Mamie at MamieVanDoren.com, and then I will and then I'll answer them.
Oh my goodness, you're going to get a lot of emails after this interview is over. I would be remiss if we didn't wrap up this interview without mentioning the Turner Classic Movies Mamie Van Doren Marathon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Turners are going to show all of my movies on June the 20th. They starts at 8 o'clock in the evening until 5 in the morning. I don't know all the movies, but there's quite a few of them that I'm starring in all of them. So if you want to see Mamie movies, you've got a night on that.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. Oh, we'll have to make sure to watch out for that. Well, again, thank you so much for chatting with us. And the book is Playing the Field, the new collector's edition, the special edition. Hugh Hefner's even raving about it on the cover of the book there. It's got a little quote from him. All new photos. And thank you so much, and you have a great day, Miss Van Doren.
Oh, listen, thank you. Same to you. I love you.
I love you, too.